I'm Jolene Wynn, and this is the Porn Addict's Wife podcast, episode number 121. Is he going to be good while I'm gone? Your life does not have to revolve around your husband's pornography addiction. You are not defined by his choices or by what he sees on a screen. You are not just the porn addict's wife. You are so much more. In this podcast, I'm going to teach you how to go from handling it to healed, because I've been where you are and you don't have to stay there. My name is Jolene Wynn. I'm a member of the LDS faith, a certified life coach, and a wife of a former porn addict. And this is a podcast for the porn addict's wife. Hello, my ladies. How are you? Today is Labor Day. Happy Labor Day. My kids were asking me what Labor Day is all about. To be honest, I totally don't know. But it is a holiday, and my husband doesn't have to work today, which is a little bit rare. Usually on things like Martin Luther King Day or days where the kids have school off, my husband still works, and so he has today off, which is really fun. And today we don't even have any big plans except that I have to get ready for starting homeschool tomorrow. I'm homeschooling this year. I told you guys that, and some of our school books came and some of them are not here yet. And so I just need to get organized. I feel like I need to clean my house top to bottom because who knows what on earth this week is going to look like. And it actually is going to be good. It's forcing me to be a little more organized with my time and to block out not only schooling, but also working, which normally I don't have to block out time for working. I just do things when they need to get done or when I want to work, and that's no problem. But this is forcing me to be a little bit more organized and scheduled out in advance, which I am just not used to. So that is different. Ladies, I have so many feelings about my book coming out tomorrow, and I think I'm going to do a bonus podcast that's going to come out tomorrow on it. So just because I have so many thoughts, so many feelings, you guys, you would think that it would be all positive. It's not. There is so much in here. Okay, I'm not going to get into that on this podcast episode. Otherwise, this would be super long. But my book is coming out tomorrow, ladies, so I'm super excited. Go follow me on Instagram at Jolene Wynn Coaching. Go to my website, jolenewynn.com. Sign up for my emails, and I will let you guys know. I will send out the Amazon link. I'm going to have some specials going on this week, a special deal with the book going on this week in celebration of launch week. And so I would love your support in this. That would be super exciting for me. And also, ladies, I want you guys to come join me for Coach Week. Okay, so that's going to start tomorrow, Tuesday, September 6th. And so every day this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to go live on Zoom and I'm going to do a free coaching call. And I would love for all of you ladies, literally every single one of you listening, to come join me. If you guys are loving what you're hearing on the podcast, if there's something you're struggling applying, if you just want some one-on-one help with some of the concepts or figuring out how to apply it, or something happened this weekend and you want to learn how to do it, come coach with me, okay? It's totally free. Go to jolenewynn.com, go to the Coach Week tab, and you can sign up for free. You just have to register so that I can email you the Zoom link, and all the calls will be recorded. So even if you can't come live, I want to encourage you to sign up. Plus, ladies, even if you've come to Coach Week before, come back, because this week I'm going to be doing some giveaways in celebration of the book. So you could win a free copy of my book. So come join me in Coach Week, and I will help you work through some of the biggest things that come up for you, and I will help you learn how to apply all of this. Because the number one thing when I get on consults with all y'all is I hear, okay, so I've been listening to the podcast, so I kind of know what to do, but I don't know how to do it. Okay. Coaching is where I help you apply the how. It's where I help you put in practice all the what that you've been learning on the podcast. That's what I do in my coaching program. So this is a little kind of a sneak peek of what it's like to come coach with me in my coaching program. It's when we take everything that we're learning on the podcast and we start applying it, and I help you figure out the roadblocks that are preventing you from making the progress that you want to. Okay? Come join me. I'd love to see you there. Again, go to jolenewynn.com, go to the Coach Week tab, and sign up. Okay, ladies, today I actually had 97 different topic ideas and I had the hardest time narrowing it down. And it wasn't until I got on my computer this morning and I saw a message from one of my clients that I said, all right, this is what I'm going to do. Because this is actually something that came up in a coaching call last week. And this is something that I have coached on so many times. Most of my clients have struggled with something like this. And this is kind of the thought. Is he going to be good while I'm gone? That thought is coming from basically the idea that he does worse when we're not around, right? Do you guys feel this? Is there ever a time, do any of you guys have a spouse that struggles more when they're by themselves, right? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So my client that messaged me today, she said she went on a little vacation. Her husband had been clean for 2.5 months and it was great. And so she went on a little trip just to take like kind of a mental break, and found out that, she found out that while she was gone, pretty much as soon as she left, that he had a relapse. And so she has having a lot of thoughts about this and a lot of feelings. And one of her thoughts was, every time I take a moment to myself, he relapses and adds this on me. So if you guys have any thoughts that are kind of along this vein, this is the podcast for you. And even if you don't have these specifically, I want you guys to pay attention because it can be one of those kind of subconscious things that runs in the background, okay? Now, when I taught this with my clients, I have this big whiteboard that I use, this big pad of paper, and I have a lot of visuals. So I'm going to try and make sure that I explain this very clearly. But if you're struggling with this, come join me in coaching, because this is something that I do is I break it down on a piece of paper for everybody to see. And sometimes that can just clarify so many things. Okay. But let's try and do it really clearly today. Okay. So this came up on a coaching call last week. I had a client who said she had a friend in town and she wanted to spend the day with the friend, but her husband was at home. And the whole time that she was gone, the whole time she was spending the day with her friend, she said she didn't even really enjoy it because the whole time she was worried about whether or not her husband was going to relapse. The whole time. She was like, I was so nervous. I was so anxious. My brain was just focused on him. What's he going to do? I'm not there. I should be there. And so she just constantly checked. So she felt super anxious. And then she was constantly checking up on him. She said she was always texting him, hey, what are you doing? How's your day going? What's up? And constantly just thinking about him and checking up on him. And it made her day so miserable because she wasn't able to enjoy her time with her friend. And so she the day was a little bit ruined, right? Have you guys ever experienced this? I've had so many clients that experience this. Or ladies, if you're even on a different end, where you feel like if you think that your husband can't, or that if you know that your husband struggles more when you're not there, right? If he's more likely to relapse when you're not there, then you feel like you always have to be around him. And you almost become the babysitter, or at least you're like almost under house arrest, especially if your husband like works from home or something like that. Then you feel like you always have to be there, or you can't go on a trip. Ladies, have you ever thought this? This was something else that my client brought up because she's coming to the Nashville, the retreat that I'm hosting in October. She's coming to that. And so she was, what if he relapses while I'm gone, right? So have you guys ever thought that? It's like, okay, I can't go on a trip. What if he relapses while I'm gone? I struggled with this myself. I didn't struggle with it so much in the day-to-day. I didn't think, oh, I can't go to the grocery store, although I know so many of my clients have thought that. My thought was more of, I had a very strong awareness that he did struggle more when I was gone. And so anytime I took a trip or we were separated for a vacation or something like that, if I left, he was in school. So there were times when I would go, if we were traveling, I would leave a few days early because he still had school, things like that. Or when I helped my sister after she had her baby and I was gone for a couple of weeks, things like that. So we'd be separated. I had a very strong awareness that that was a possibility, right? Not that it wasn't always a possibility, but during those times, my brain was heightened to the possibility that he might relapse while I was gone. You guys see what I'm saying? That's what we're talking about today. Okay, so here's what I want to clarify for y'all is why your brain is so focused on the physical of him being physically alone. All right, let's talk about it. First, we're going to talk about why your brain is so worried about him relapsing. Okay, I want you guys to think about this. Now, it sounds like a stupid question. It sounds like, well, of course, I don't want my husband to relapse. Like, that's a terrible thing, obviously, right? But I really want you guys to think about it. The reason that your brain doesn't want your husband to relapse is because of how you feel when he does. It's not a good feeling, right? You feel rejection, you feel loneliness, you feel hurt, you feel betrayed, all of those things, whatever it is that comes up for you, distrust, right? There's a lot of negative emotion that comes up because of our thoughts about him watching porn. Okay, I'm not okay with my husband watching porn. So if he ever does, there's going to be a lot of negative emotion that comes up. I don't want him to watch porn. That might be one of my thoughts. I don't like it when he does, and that's going to create a negative emotion. Okay, so now our brain, remember, is wired to avoid pain. Emotional pain and physical pain, okay? So when there is a circumstance, when there is something that happens that we have a lot of thoughts about that create a lot of negative emotion or emotional pain, our brain wants to avoid it. Now, here's the problem, is this is something that is not within our control, right? Our husband watching porn, not something we can control. We want to. That feels really nice. We have this kind of idea that if we stay home, if we're always with him, if we have the apps and the controls and all those things, that somehow it might prevent him from relapsing at least as often, right? It's kind of this false sense of control. So we have that going on, but in the reality, we know that we can't force him. He's an adult. We can't force him to not watch porn. Hence why we're all having issues with this. If we could force him to not watch porn, that would be great. And if I knew how to do that, I would totally teach you. Okay, but I don't. So our brain says him watching porn causes all of this negative emotion because of our thoughts about it. Totally fine. Okay, so let's avoid that at all costs. Now, the only thing that your brain can see physically is whether or not he's physically alone. So your brain, anytime your husband is physically alone, is saying that's a red flag. You guys follow me? So your brain is always looking out for red flags, looking for danger. It wants to be aware of its surroundings in order to keep you alive. So our brain says, okay, this thing caused emotional pain. It's more likely to happen when he's by himself. So anytime he's by himself, your brain goes red flag. And then his trigger becomes your trigger, right? Your trigger being him being by himself physically. Now, here's what I want to offer, ladies. It's not him being by himself physically alone that's going to create him or cause him to watch pornography. It's how he feels and how he chooses to respond to that feeling. You guys follow me? It's not that your husband, every time he is alone, is going to watch pornography. It's how he feels when he's alone, or how he feels even if he's not alone. It's how he feels that's going to create the urge to watch pornography, and then he gets to choose to act on that. You guys follow me? Our brain, again, focuses on whether he's physically alone simply because that's the only thing that we can see. We can't see how he feels. The thing that drives him to watch pornography, if you guys go listen to my episode on buffering, that's what we're talking about, okay? It's not the physical loneliness, the physical aloneness that creates the urge to watch pornography. That could also just simply be opportunity, right? But the thing that actually creates the urge to watch pornography is how he's feeling at the time. It's not because he is alone. It might be because he's feeling alone, or because he's feeling rejection, or because he's feeling worthlessness, or whatever negative emotion it is that he doesn't want to feel. Then he buffers, which is simply a distraction. He's choosing something to distract himself from how he's feeling. And that distraction of choice that your husband and my husband have chosen is pornography. Do you guys follow me? So again, your brain can only see that he's physically alone, and so that's what your brain interprets as the red flag. But it's not him being physically alone that's going to create or going to force him or push him to watching pornography. That's not what it is. It's however he's feeling at the time. And it's really important that you guys recognize this, because that is not something you can control. Again, your brain really wants to focus on him being physically alone because your brain says that I can solve, which is your brain's job. Your brain's job is to look out for danger. It's spotted something that it thinks is dangerous because it creates emotional pain for you. And it says, how do we solve this? Well, if he's physically alone, he's more likely to do it, or he does it when he's alone. So therefore, if I'm always with him, then he might not do it. Right? It sounds very logical, but it's all your brain's trying to do is your brain is trying to manipulate the situation in order to manipulate how you might potentially feel. You guys follow me? Your brain doesn't want him to ever be alone physically because then he might relapse and then you might feel negative emotion. And that's what your brain is trying to avoid. Now, if you understand that negative emotion is okay and that the worst thing that can happen when you feel negative emotion is you just feel it, then it enables you to create a space, not where you're okay with him watching porn, not where it's not a big deal, not where it doesn't hurt you, not where you don't have a negative reaction, but where you're willing to let go of this false sense of control. You're willing to let go of this in order to live the life that you want to live. Because otherwise you're basically under house arrest or a babysitter to your spouse, which is not the relationship that you want to have. Or you become the police, right? Have you guys ever done this? Is you become the cop. You're constantly on him. What are you doing? What is he doing? You have the routers, you have everything set up. He's always checking in. It's like you're the parole officer, right? And that doesn't create the relationship that you want to have with him either. It might make you feel a little bit better. At the same time, you cannot always be with him, ladies. It's impossible. Think about it. Even if we never left the house, he still goes to the bathroom. He still takes showers. You still take a shower. He still drives somewhere occasionally. He could even just go sit in the car for 20 minutes while you're doing something and distracted. It is impossible for you to constantly be around him 24/7 physically. Okay? And I want you guys to recognize this because it's a really tempting place for your brain to go. Very, very tempting. And it also sounds really nice. It sounds like we're being really loving. It almost sounds like we're being supportive. Right? Well, no, I'm just trying to be supportive. I'm just trying to make sure that he doesn't do the thing that he doesn't even like himself, right? It sounds really nice. Ladies, you have to learn how to let it go. And one of the things you have to understand is why your brain is trying so hard to avoid it. And the reason for that is because it doesn't want to feel the negative emotion on the other side. But let me tell you this, ladies, I want to feel that negative emotion. I don't want to be okay with my husband watching porn. I'm never going to be okay with it. So if he ever does it, yes, I'm going to feel negative emotion. But I don't worry about it, ladies. I don't sit and constantly stress about my husband having a relapse because I know that the worst thing that could happen, if he does, is that I will feel a feeling. And I'm really good at feeling my feelings, ladies. That's the worst thing that can happen. And yet our brain is so afraid of it simply because your brain can't understand that you are stronger than your emotions. You're supposed to have them. It's okay to feel them. Sometimes are they awful? Sure. Do they kind of suck? Totally. Do we want to feel negative emotion all the time? No. But there are things I'm willing to feel negative emotion about. Sadness. I'm willing to feel sad if my husband watches porn because I don't want him to, and I'm not okay with it, and I like my reasons for that. Could I train my brain to have a different response? Yes. Am I going to? No, because I don't want to. I like my reasons. I am okay feeling sad, rejected, hurt, betrayed, all of those things. If he does that, that's my choice. But I'm really good at feeling my feelings, and I know that the worst thing that can happen when you feel a feeling is you just feel it. Ladies, this is an advanced concept, feeling your feelings. It's not something I can teach you on a podcast. I want to encourage you guys to come coach with me. I'm going to teach you how to do it. I get on the call one-on-one with my clients to make sure that they know how to do this. This is the most vital skill you could ever learn, is how to feel your feelings. Think of all the things that you avoid in an attempt to avoid your feelings. How many times have you not gone on a trip because of your fear that he might relapse? Because of how you might feel if he does? How many things are you too afraid to begin? How much fear do you have? How much have you given into that fear because you're afraid of failure? You might feel a feeling. You might feel embarrassed. You might feel like a failure. You might feel a little worthless. You might feel rejected. What if I go up and I talk to these people and they don't like me? Then I might feel rejected. There are so many things that we don't do in our lives because we are afraid of how we might feel. But if you are good at feeling your feelings, if you learn how to do it, then there is nothing you can't do. I 100% believe this, ladies. The only thing that is preventing you from being the difference, here we go, let me speak English, between where you are and where you want to go, the only thing in between that is your thoughts and feelings. We got the thoughts part down. We're working on it on this podcast. The feelings are something I have to teach you in person. Come coach with me, okay? You can go sign up on my website. It is a lifetime membership program, ladies. You get the support you need. One of the things that I think was so beautiful about logging onto my computer today and opening up this private Slack group that we have, which is just a messaging app that enables me to message all my clients and they can message me one-on-one and they can message each other, is the message that I got from one of my clients today, that one that I started off with, where she went on a trip and her husband relapsed pretty much right after she left. And the support from the other women in the group. This is a beautiful thing. I've never been so proud of anything as I was in this moment. Not only for the support and the compassion and the grace and the understanding that they offered, there's no judgment, the understanding that they offered, but also for the perspective. You guys have heard me talk about other women's groups before, and the reason that I didn't love any of them was because it was a lot of, your husband's a jerk, you should leave him, he's the worst, he's ruined your life. And it was very degrading, and it doesn't actually go anywhere. This was 100% different. This was, you've got this. I'm so sorry this happened. I understand. I've been there before. Here's what's helped me. I know you can do it. Focus on X, Y, and Z. There's understanding, but there's also perspective. And I'm so proud to have created a community where these women can just log on and know that they are in a space where everyone else understands them. And I want that for you. If you are feeling isolated and lonely, come join coaching. I have a group of dozens of women who are all in the same boat, and you can just log on and feel it. And if you want to feel it even more powerfully, come to Nashville in October. Ladies, it's like 6 weeks away. I am so excited. That is the most powerful experience I can offer y'all, is the one-on-one room, intimate 15 people gathering that I'm creating, where you walk into a room and you don't even have to know anybody else. You can feel understood. That's what this is creating. And there's so much power in that because your brain says, oh, I'm not by myself. And if she can do it, maybe I can too. That's what I want for you. I love you ladies so much. Don't stay stuck. When your brain gives red flags as to what your husband is doing, if he's by himself, just notice that that's all it is. Notice that this is just your brain trying to to avoid negative emotion. And this is when you learn how to be in charge of your brain. Take charge of your brain and say, oh, that's okay. I don't have to worry about that. Because the worst thing that can happen is I'll feel a feeling. And I'm really good at feeling my feelings. I love you ladies so much. I hope you guys have a great holiday. And I'll talk to you next week. So take care. All right, ladies, if you are loving what you are learning on the podcast, I want to invite you to come join my coaching program. This is where we take it to the next level and we actually start applying and learning the how of moving forward. This podcast has taught you the what, and the coaching program is where you're going to learn the how. This is where you learn how to actually start moving forward, process all of that pain that you feel, and let it go once and for all. If you are ready to finally move forward and stop living a life that revolves around your husband's pornography addiction, then I want to invite you to come join me today. Just head to my website, joleneWayne.com, and sign up today. I can't wait to see you there.